Hi, welcome back. So I'm here to talk about crow pose. Crow pose is another one of those great arm balances, but for many, we're thinking it's all about upper body strength. But essentially, it's a lot of core strength and secondary to arm strength. So I'm going to show you some variations to hopefully help you feel more successful either prepping for this pose or actually getting into the pose fully and completely. So when we come into eagle, we just did eagle. When we come into crow pose, we want to think about some prep work that might need to happen. So working with things like squats, working with things like happy baby, or even eagle on the floor can be really great ways for you to be able to prep your body for a pose like crow pose. If you find yourself that maybe balance is an issue or maybe your upper body strength isn't quite there yet, I really recommend maybe trying tripod, or one of my favorites is actually using a block. And so I'm going to show you two ways to use the block in crow pose versus both for a head support and for a foot support. So we're going to start out with it as a head support. Planting the hands down on the floor, we're going to go about shoulders distance, slightly wider. The block is in front, so we're making a triangle, okay? We're not even with our head, but rather we're going to have that nice triangle set up. So as I start to prepare, I'm going to bend my elbows and bring my head to the block. Lifting my hips high, now my knees can sit right onto my triceps. And I have the ability now to balance in crow pose without feeling the need to kind of crash towards the floor. And I would say as far as body weight goes, we're really looking at our body weight, it's really about 70-30. Only 30% of the weight is on the head, maybe even if that, and the rest of the body weight is into the arms and into the core. That block is going to hit us at about the hairline, so you're still getting that up and back angle in crow pose without the stress and tension all on the shoulder girdle. For other people, it's about getting their knees up on the triceps. So I like to call my block the perch. And in stepping up on the perch, planting the hands to the floor, hips go high, head goes low, so the triceps and the knees can meet. So your rocking crow is essentially you bringing your weight forward and then bringing your weight back. Bringing your weight forward and bringing your weight back. Imagine your elbows being hooked together by a strap or a cord. Rather than letting the elbows flare and using your chest muscles, I do want you to use a little bit more tricep and upper back. But one of the big game changers in crow is to activate the pelvic core. So you need those pelvic floor muscles. You need that deep transversus like you're hanging like an ornament. So as you come into your crow pose, hips come high, knees come to the triceps. I'm going to pick my feet up and pull the heels towards my tailbone to essentially pull my hips higher than my shoulders and really activate those pelvic floor muscles. When people come onto the upper body in crow, they kind of flop down onto crow. And you want to hug the inner thighs and hug everything together. So from a front view, it often looks like this. You want to essentially, in crow, bring everything up and in, and that's a lot of inner thigh work. So I'm hugging the inner thighs and kind of sucking myself up into crow. So a progression then is not necessarily having the elbows bent like little stools for the knees, but rather letting the arms go long as we lift the toes up high and let the head come slightly low. This is definitely not for the faint at heart, and you have to be willing to fall a little bit. But let's look at this as a life lesson, and every time we fall and we get back up, we just take another stride forward in life. Making sure, too, that you honor your body in every way, shape, or form. You may need to prep a little bit with some wrist stretches or some wrist work, and even post stretches with the wrist as well, until you build up that strength stretch combination in the forearms. All right, here's to happy flying. Great job.